Miners gunned down by police, wildcat strikes as workers demand better treatment, and unions fighting sometimes violent turf wars. Many observers say South Africa's mining industry is in crisis. It is one of the world's most lucrative, with gold, platinum and diamonds among the minerals that bring in some $12 billion annually. We'll bring you the latest this news hour. Our correspondents are standing by at a courthouse near Pretoria and at a gold mine where thousands of workers are on strike. But first, the latest on the killing of 34 striking miners at the Marikana platinum mine last month. Some of the 270 miners who had been accused of murder are about to be released from police custody. They'd been charged with the killing of 34 colleagues, even though the victims were shot by police. But prosecutors have suspended the charges pending further investigations. Tania Page is outside the courthouse in the township of Garankuwa near Pretoria. Tania, what's going to happen there?
Well, in the next couple of hours, those miners will be brought to the courthouse that you can see just behind me there. We're expecting some 140 of them to be released today, and we are expecting, as we have seen in other court appearances, members of their families and friends to be here as well. The remainder of the miners will be released on Thursday once police are satisfied that they've verified their addresses. Now, of course, the news that these murder and attempted murder charges are going to be suspended was greeted widely in the public sphere among constitutional lawyers and the Minister of Justice as well, because it has been perceived that the use of an apartheid-era piece of legislation has been damaging to the sector and to South Africa's image abroad. However, that is not how the government sees it, as we found out at a news conference earlier in the day.
The tragic incident at Marikana is not a reflection of the business environment in South Africa. We would like to reassure all stakeholders and the international community that the mining operations continue unhindered in other parts of the Northwest Province and throughout the country. Government remains in control of the situation, and law and order continues to prevail. The country continues to fully support direct investment and appropriate incentives, and the legislative framework is in place to give confidence and practicability to investment decisions and security of tenure.
And let's leave Tania Page in Garankuwa and join Haru Mutasa, who is at the world's fourth biggest gold mine, where more strikes are taking place at Goldfields. Why are they striking there? What's the problem, Haru?
Well, Jane, production has stopped at the world's fourth largest gold mine, and there's a combination of reasons why. Some of the workers, it's about the money. They want a salary increase. But some people are saying that it's about union rivalry. The workers here aren't happy with union leaders, and the union here is the National Union of Mine Workers, or NUM, N-U-M. And they feel their leaders aren't representing them, and they're colluding with mine managers. So now they're saying they're on strike, and they'll protest inside the property. Jane?
Any idea how peaceful the protest is at this stage, and is it going to get increasingly rowdy? We know that Julius Malema, the former leader of the ANC Youth League, is going to be there. And any idea how the police will respond?
Well, it's peaceful from what we know at the moment, and what the mine managers have told us. There's no police presence here where I am. Yes, Julius Malema does plan to come to the venue. We've seen a few of his representatives drive past from us. Now, he emerged as a hero at the Lonmin Platinum Mine in Marikana, where he seemed to take advantage of a leadership weakness within the government, and emerged as someone who seemed to be concerned about the workers' rights, the workers' conditions. Well, that's what he portrays to people, for example. So people here are expecting him to probably do the same. What people are concerned about is that he could incite the workers and tell them not to go back to work anytime soon. And if that happens, then that means this strike could be prolonged and carry on and no one knows how long it'll last. Jay?
All right, thank you for that, Haru Mutasa. Now, South Africa's mineral reserves are some of the world's most valuable, worth an estimated $2.5 trillion. It has the largest platinum and magnesium reserves, and among the richest in gold and diamonds. South Africa's economy is built on mining those reserves. The Chamber of Mines says the industry creates around 1 million jobs. And in 2010, it generated around 18% of the country's gross domestic product. Now, that's around $12 billion. Of that amount, the Chamber of Mines says around $10 million is spent on employees, salaries, and wages. Patrick Craven is the spokesman for the Congress of South African Trade Unions. He joins us now live from Johannesburg. Mr. Craven, from where I'm standing, it looks like the mining industry in South Africa is in crisis. Is it?
Yes, I think that's a fair assessment, but this is something which has been boiling up for many, many years, even going back to the days of apartheid. The mine workers have always been the most exploited section of the workers. In the days of apartheid, they were little more than slaves, brought from all over southern Africa and treated with total disrespect. Things have obviously changed, and the trade unions must take the credit for that. But nevertheless, it is still, on the one hand, a very, very dangerous and unhealthy form of work, and the pay is extremely low.
So you've got several issues, don't you?
It's quite wrong, as some commentators
it seems
do.
That, excuse me, jumping in here, it seems that workers are still being exploited, but also you've got this, what's been called a turf war between the unions.
Well, the two, I think, are connected. The levels of pay are still very low if you compare them, particularly to the people in the same companies, in the executive offices, who, by one calculation, won 152 times as much as the workers, the rock drill operators, who were on strike at Lonmin. And that undoubtedly explains the main problem. And the unions have been doing their best, but clearly, given the level of anger and frustration, it has laid open a situation for rival unions to try to cash in on the anger. Also political figures like Julius Malema, you've just mentioned. And this is a huge challenge for the trade union movement, which we're not going to duck away from. COSATU has its National Congress in 2 weeks' time, and this will undoubtedly be the top of the agenda. How can we make sure that the workers' trade union movement remains united and strong and starts to meet the very legitimate demands which workers increasingly are making, not just in the mining sector, because we're seeing now similar demands being made by workers in other sections, and clearly it's putting us on the spot, and we have to make sure that the trade unions reassess their effectiveness and become real champions of the workers,
and
in order to
at the same time
keep their existing members and start to win back the ones that they've lost.
Sure, and I guess at the same time doing this but not holding the country hostage to these growing industrial disputes.
We would totally reject that analysis. The underlying problem is caused by the employers, not by the workers. And they must take their responsibility as well and listen to what the workers are demanding, and to be prepared to come up with much bigger improvements, because they're making huge, huge profits from the wealth that is created by the workers working in dangerous and difficult and unhealthy conditions. And it's their responsibility to come up with a solution, and you can't just blame the workers.
Your perspective on that, Patrick Craven, thank you very much.